So we're going to break down an anatomy of a media hit job here, and it's on Bernie Sanders. Last night there was a town hall event. The candidates went one by one. Chris Cuomo for CNN asked a lot of the questions, but then he went to the audience and they asked some of the questions. But the audience questions were curated. They didn't just have people walk off the street and ask the questions. They put them in order, even though the questions appear to be from actually these individuals, but they selected them among many different possible questions. So I'm going to show you the questions that Bernie Sanders got and then Hillary Clinton got, and then what the rest of the press did with this event, okay? So first, we had an audience member ask Bernie Sanders a question. Again, remember, CNN picked which questions were going to get asked on air and which order they were going to go in. So this was right in the beginning. Here's the question that Sanders gets.
Yes, Senator, some of your detractors have called you a socialist on occasions, and you don't seem too troubled by that and sometimes embrace it. I wondered if you could elaborate on that, and just to show us what the comfort level you have, your definition of it, so that it doesn't concern the rest of us citizens.
Okay, now so far, if it was just this, you say, oh, that's no big deal at all. Look, both sides are going to get tough questions. They should get tough questions. This is from the audience. You genuinely had that question. No problem. Okay, now, again, let's look at the full context, though, and see if you still feel that way. Now, let's go to the actual questions asked by CNN's moderator, Cuomo. Here's the first.
You will hear people say that your paying for it is actually punitive. You're going to punish people who make money. You're going to punish the financial district. You're going to punish and wind up changing the idea of an open and free economy, because you're going to punish them for speculating, which means they won't speculate as much, which means you won't get as much activity. And if you do a checklist of how you pay for everything, what you're doing is amassing the biggest government ever. After President Clinton said the era of big government was over, seems like Bernie Sanders is saying, not only if it's over, I'm going to do it bigger than ever.
Okay, how many times did he say the word punish there? I lost count at one point. I was trying to keep track. So, era of big government's back, Bernie Sanders, you socialist. Now you're going to go around punishing people. Now, wait a minute. When the wealthy gave to all these politicians and fixed the laws so that they would pay less taxes, corporations would pay less taxes, and you actually would pay more taxes, and then your wages would stagnate because of the laws that they passed, but they would get to keep all the wealth. That wasn't punishing the middle class. CNN never framed it that way. That was just, oh, good old free market. Hey, look at that. The oil companies got $40 billion in tax subsidies. What does that have to do with the free market? Doesn't that punish us taxpayers? No, but if you go to say, hey, maybe we might raise taxes on the rich or corporations, all of a sudden, you're punishing them. You're punishing them. Okay, now you can say, hey, wait a minute, Cenk. Okay, all right, that's a pretty loaded question by Cuomo, but did he keep doing that? Well, let's keep watching.
And what about the idea that you're bringing back the era of big government and making it bigger than ever?
A few moments later.
Give me a yes or no on that. Is the era of big government back with President Sanders?
Big government, punish, 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 big government. Okay, now how many incidents of that is that of Cuomo continuing to challenge Bernie on what he perceives to be all the things that are wrong with him. Now, again, if he's going to be even-handed to Martin O'Malley and Hillary Clinton, we're going to have a different conversation. We'll get to that in a second. Now, we're not done yet, though. One more from Cuomo here.
To pay for this, what you're really asking for is one of the biggest tax hikes in history, and that is the criticism.
How many times is he going to ask it in a different way? Aren't you raising taxes? Now, you're big government, you're punishing the rich, you class warfare, what are you doing, you socialist? Now, we're going to get back to that whole raising taxes, which he emphasized over and over again. And the rest of the media is going to pick up on that because they love that. This is how they try to bury Sanders, and I'll tell you how I think it's going to backfire. Now, but we go to the most important question. Is he going to be even-handed? As we were doing the live coverage, doing play-by-play on the Young Turks here, I said, that's okay. You're allowed to be as tough as you want to be on each of the candidates. I got no problem with it, as long as you're even-handed. So Hillary Clinton comes up. I'm sure Chris Cuomo is going to be just as tough on her. Let's listen to the first three questions he asked Hillary Clinton. See if it's tough or maybe just a little bit more softball. Let's watch.
How are you?
Good to see you.
Mwah. Great to see you.
Interesting weekend for you. Boston Globe, endorsement. Right. Des Moines Register, endorsement. Maybe the best accolade, President Obama gave an interview, talked about this race, seemed to get more into it than he has in the past. He said, you're, quote, wicked smart, knows every policy inside and out. Sounds like an endorsement to me. He says also in there, you get undue criticism. Here you are again, another election, praise and promise coming your way, but another nail-biter
Right.
with a self-described socialist named Bernie.
Right.
How did that happen?
Indeed. All of a sudden, the questions go from very difficult to endorsement. Endorsement. You are wicked smart. That's what the president says. I didn't say it. President Obama says you're wicked smart and you have received undue criticism. Bernie Sanders, no undue criticism to him. He deserves it, that goddamn socialist raising my taxes. Oh, right, Chris Cuomo is incredibly wealthy. I almost forgot that. All the CNN executives, all the CNN hosts, enormously wealthy. Oh, right, Bernie Sanders would be raising your taxes. What an unbelievable coincidence. I'm sure that doesn't affect you at the back of your mind at all. Hillary Clinton, on the other hand, isn't going to raise your taxes. She's not going to overturn your Apple Card. She's not going to touch any of the media conglomerates. She's not going to touch any of the corporate conglomerates. She gets funded by them, and she's going to do their bidding. Oh, endorsement, undue criticism. And it's weird that you're in a tight race with a frickin' socialist. A very fair and balanced. Most trusted name in news. By the way, he says he's a democratic socialist and explained that. Now, did Chris Cuomo get into that explanation or use democratic socialist with a socialist named Bernie? Ha! Ha! Isn't that funny? How do we find ourselves this way when we had already anointed you the winner? This is so weird. So now I'm going to go back to how he's pressing Bernie on taxes. No matter what, he kept coming back. I want to answer. Say you're raising taxes. Say it, say it. And so what do? Right afterwards, all of a sudden there's a GIF of it. Golly gee, I wonder how that came up. Let's look at the GIF.
We are going to raise taxes to do this.
Yes, we will raise taxes.
You are going to raise taxes to do this.
Yes, we will raise taxes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, Cuomo keeps pressing him. Well, and then somebody takes that GIF, runs with it. You want to talk about running with it? I'm going to get to the rest of the media in a second. Now, what they didn't provide in that GIF or in any of the headlines I'm going to tell you about is the context. So can we just listen to the rest of that and see how he finished the sentence?
Just to be clear, you are going to raise taxes to do this.
Yes, we will raise taxes. Yes, we will. But also let us be clear, Chris, because there's a little bit of disingenuity out there. We may raise taxes, but we are also going to eliminate private health insurance premiums for individuals and for businesses.
Wait, that's pretty important context. Now, the reason I like this town hall forum overall is because it allowed all the candidates to give their arguments in a longer form. It allowed them to give context. So Hillary Clinton got to make her case, Martin O'Malley, and Bernie Sanders got to make his case. Except that case was not really reported by the press. I'm going to give you even more context as to what Bernie Sanders meant by that answer so you know that he's actually going to lower your bills, not increase your bills. Here's his answer.
But, Chris, that is an unfair criticism for the following reason. If you are paying now $10,000 a year to a private health insurance company, and I say to you hypothetically, you're going to pay $5,000 more in taxes, or actually less than that, but you're not going to pay any more private health insurance, are you going to be complaining about the fact that I've saved you $5,000 in your total bills? So it's demagogic to say, oh, you're paying more in taxes. Let's also talk about we are going to eliminate private health insurance premiums and payments, not only for individuals, but for businesses as well. Again, we are the only country on earth that allows private insurance companies to rip us off. We spend 3 times more than the British, 50% more than the French. We can do better than we're doing right now.
Now, if you watch the whole town hall, you got that context. And to us, it appeared that Bernie Sanders had won that debate. But if you didn't watch it and you just looked at the websites the next day, the papers, here's what you would have gotten instead. Let's go to CNN, who covered the town hall themselves. How did they summarize this debate? Their headline was, Sanders, we will raise taxes. That's their headline. Okay, most people don't even read the article, let alone watch the town hall. So the whole summary of the debate is, Sanders, we will raise taxes. So they set him up, and then they're ready to write the headline. Off we go. He admitted it. Go, 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 go. Smear him. Because in their mind, oh my God, raising taxes, Americans hate that. This will help deflate it, right? Well, CNN, maybe they did it on their own. The so-called progressive network, MSNBC, they're not going to do something like that, right? Let's go to their headline. Sanders, we will raise taxes. Yes, we will. Let's go to the Associated Press. They actually gave a tiny bit more context, give them a little bit of credit, but they start the same way. Bernie Sanders' defense called to raise taxes to fund health care. At least they mentioned that it was to fund health care. Then we go to the Hill. Sanders, we will raise taxes. Yes, we will. That's their headline. All the headlines, the same. Yes, we will. Now, Hillary Clinton's folks jump in on Twitter and they're like, yes. So here's Christina Reynolds quoting him, we will raise taxes. Yes, we will. On his health care plan. Ian Sams, we will raise taxes. Yes, we will. This is what is known as the echo chamber. Now, the guys who do the echo chamber really, really well is the right wing. They will have a memo that comes out of the RNC, and then it'll get repeated by all their radio talk show hosts, and then it'll go to Fox News. It'll be repeated by all their opinion hosts and their news anchors. And then all the guests and all the Republican senators and Congress will come out and will say the same thing. So the media is used to this echo chamber. In this case, they have decided Bernie Sanders should not get elected. We're going to do everything we can to make sure that he's framed as the guy who's going to raise your taxes. He's so dangerous. Now, in reality, they don't mean raise your taxes. They mean raise our taxes. You see, The Hill and CNN and MSNBC did not get together in a smoke-filled room and hatch a conspiracy against Bernie Sanders. That's not how it works. It's much more subtle than that. They are the establishment. So from their point of view, Bernie Sanders seems like a wild-eyed radical because every executive at CNN is going to get a tax increase. Every host on CNN is going to get a tax increase. By the way, every host on MSNBC is going to get a tax increase. The camera guys aren't going to get a tax increase. The janitors aren't going to get a tax increase. You're not going to get a tax increase. But the guys in power, they look at Bernie Sanders and go, no, 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 under no conditions. So that's their natural reaction. Chris Cuomo's like, come on, you're bringing big government back. You're going to raise my taxes, aren't you? That's why he keeps going back, because it's personal for him. And then everybody who's in this process, it's groupthink. And at the end of the groupthink, we can't have Bernie Sanders. We can't have him. Hillary Clinton, endorsement, endorsement, endorsement. Gee, I wonder who's going to bring you real change. It's not just us who knows it. The establishment knows it too, and they're scared to death of it. And this is how they try to derail it. Well, now at least you know. So if you want to be on the side of the establishment, you have your candidate. If you want to be on the side of real change, it's also very, very apparent who that candidate is and how scared the establishment is of him actually winning.